Hello. Welcome to the Lois and Lamar TV Talk Show. I am Lois, your host. Hosted along with me this evening is the fabulous Miss Suzette Price, and our special guest is Miss Kenya Collier. Kenya has a wonderful journey that she is going to share with us this evening. She is a musician. She works in HR during the day, but she plays for several different bands, choirs throughout the tri-state in the evening. She is also the founder of a women's empowerment conference, which she has yearly, which she's going to tell us a little bit about. And most recently, she and her husband, Miles Collier, has become the author of this great book, The Courage to Grieve. I present to you at this time Miss Kenya Collier. Kenya, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
And we are so happy to have you here. Share your journey with me. I know you as a musician, and I'm following you on your social media apps, and I'm seeing all these wonderful, great things that God is doing in your life. You have this great book out, The Courage to Grieve. Share some of your journey with us.
Wow, it's been a long journey. So to share, I'll share with the book. I'll start with that first, The Courage to Grieve. So that journey began for us back last year. We were pregnant with our first child, my husband and I, Miles Collier. Shout out to Miles Collier. We were pregnant with our first child, and everything was going well for the first trimester. And then at 16 weeks, we had some complications, and I went out on bed rest, and we trusted God, and we were praying and believing God. And unfortunately, at 20 weeks, we had a miscarriage, which they would call a late miscarriage. So it was one of the most, I would say, devastating things that I've ever had to go through in my life, next to losing my mother. And in the beginning, when everything happened, I was really embarrassed. I was I blamed myself. I felt guilty. And I really didn't want to tell anybody about the miscarriage. And my husband encouraged me and said that we needed to share the testimony because people needed to hear it. So I put something on social media sharing that I had the loss, that we had the loss. And we received the overwhelming response of people saying this happened to me, people that I had known for 10, 15, 20 years that had a miscarriage that never told me because they felt the same thing I felt. And it helped me to realize that, number one, I wasn't alone. Number two, that a lot of people do feel this way in terms of miscarriage. And I also found out that miscarriage is very common. 1 in 4 women have a miscarriage. So from that, over time and connecting with people, I felt that I needed to write my story and share it with people. But I didn't want it to just be my story. So that's where we asked some co-authors. So it's several co-authors. There's, again, Miles Collier, of course, Dania Bullock, Risha Allen Jennings, Autumn Miller, Deirdre Nelson, Andre Price, and Kim Paris Upshaw. So they each wrote a chapter in the book, and we have losses going from as early as 6 weeks all the way to 36 weeks. We had a couple of people who had stillborn children, and I believe that God is really going to do something with this book to show people that they're not alone. And it's called The Courage to Grieve, Surviving Pregnancy Loss, and it's stories of healing, victory, and inspiration. So even though it's an intense read, my prayer is that when people read the book that they'll be inspired, that you can get through pregnancy loss, and there is hope to try again, and there's hope, and there are other ways to have children and things like that. So that's where we are with the book.
That's so beautiful. You took something very painful that occurred in your life, and you turned it into a testimony in a book. That is absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. How's the sales going?
So far, so good. I'm actually sold out of my books. I had ordered a bunch of books. We released the book on June 8th, and I did a book release at the Palace in Blackwood. So each author, like shared their story, but we also had a panel discussion. So the panel discussion, we talked about just some things in terms of the medical field and different problems, and it was a really good panel discussion. So I didn't expect to like sell all the books that quick. And next thing I know, I'm like, okay, I need to order more books.
People are curious.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
People are curious.
And also with African American women, that's loss is huge anyway. Difficulty getting pregnant is probably number one for African American women.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and again, it's something that's not talked about.
Most definitely.
So it's like women, especially African American women, we suffer in silence. Right. With a lot of things, we suffer in silence.
Well, I think it's a pride thing. You know, we as African American women are looked at as strong. So, you know, we can't show that we're hurting.
Right, right.
And then some people have that feeling of, well, that's none of their business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in awe of what you have done, because I am one of those women. I lost 4 children.
Mm.
Never able to give them a name. And I had a stillborn. And then I had my son. After the doctor said you only have a 50-50 chance of bearing a child. But he was not my father to have the final say. So I trusted God. And I prayed, I took it to the altar, and it wasn't nothing that I wouldn't do during that period. Because I knew what I had prayed and asked for, I would get. I have my son today.
Wow.
He is 39 years old, and he's everything that I prayed and asked God for. But who would think to write a book about such an experience? So, you know, I commend you. I commend you on everything that you've done. I commend you, and Lois doesn't like to read, but I'm going to read that book. I'm going to read that book.
Yes.
Because I guess we all have something in common, because I unfortunately was not able to. I tried and it just didn't happen. So I can imagine what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to reading it as well.
Yes, yes. I pray there's an encouragement. There is one of the authors in the book that was the end result. And we talk about just different ways of motherhood, redefining motherhood. Yes. That was something that I really actually worked through in therapy, which is another thing that unfortunately African Americans kind of shy away from, especially if you grow up in church. It's just like, pray about it, you know, God will fix it. But I had gotten to a place where I realized, you know what, I need to talk to somebody. So in therapy, we worked through redefining motherhood, and society puts this pressure on you that, you know, you have to have a child, and you have to have it by a certain age, and you have to have it this way. But there's other ways to be a mother. I mean, you could be a godmother to someone. I'm an aunt. I have a million nieces and nephews, so they're like my children. And finding fulfillment outside of that, and knowing that like life exists outside of children. And it took a lot of therapy sessions for me to get to that place where I'm like, okay, you know what? I can adopt. I can foster. I can be a mentor. I can be a big sister. You know, so, you know, I pray that that's an encouragement to you, because there is definitely life exists outside of children. So
that's right, and you know, you're still young and beautiful, so you can always try again.
Yeah,
you know, I've seen them at 50 have babies.
And it's a work in progress.
You know, so you're still young, and you still can try again and have more children, and I'm sure you will.
We'll see what the Lord has in store.
Exactly. You may have 5 or 6. Your
Uh-oh.
basketball team. The basketball team. You can have them playing every music instrument. Make your own band, you know. But that's wonderful, and I thank you for sharing that journey of your book with us. Tell us about your musical career.
Music, wow.
You're a gospel musician.
Yes.
And you play a lot of gospel, which is my favorite music.
Awesome.
And you play keyboard.
Yes.
You play keyboard. Is that the only instrument you play? Is the keyboard?
Yeah, I wish I could play another instrument, but I didn't.
You have directed many choirs.
Yes.
Share some of that with us.
So music, I had to think about how long I've been playing. I've been playing the piano for almost 30 years. Okay. I started when I was 8 years old playing, and when I was younger, it was kind of like, oh, this is nice. You know, it wasn't really like a passion for me. And I would play and started playing with choirs and Sunday school and vacation Bible school just kind of coming up. And when I didn't feel like playing, my mom would just push me to do it. And when I didn't want to practice, my mom and dad would push me to practice. And then in time, right when I got to college, it kind of turned into, it's just like a fire just lit inside of me. Like I really enjoyed it, and I got to the place where I needed, like,
You just have to.
yeah, like I can't imagine my life without music.
That's right.
And so I've been playing for, like I said, almost 30 years, working with choirs for 20 years. I play for artists in the South Jersey area. Shout out to Eric McFadden and the Praise Alliance.
Hi, Eric. We're going to get you next.
Yeah, yeah, you got to bring him on the
Gotta get
show.
you
Yes,
next.
yes. So Eric has a group. I've been playing. I'm the music director for that. I also play for Latia Johnson. Shout out to Latia Johnson, Tamika Hall. I've played for a lot of different artists and projects, and I play at churches. That's how we met, playing at Mount Zion Methodist Church. Now I'm currently at Mount Olivet Tabernacle Baptist Church. Shout out to them in West Philadelphia, Pastor Andre Price, and I've been there now for almost 8 years. And my husband and my brother, we're a band. So outside of church and things like that, we play everything. So we play gospel,
Okay,
we
that's
play
what I was gonna ask.
R&B, jazz, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever's
So
needed, just gifted all the
yeah,
way
we
around.
play
Praise God.
wherever. So we play as a band together, and the three of us are together a lot. So that's good as well.
Yeah, it keeps you connected.
Yes.
Musically,
Absolutely.
family,
Yes.
that connection is there.
Definitely.
That's
Definitely.
awesome.
And we get it honest. I mean, music runs in my family. My mom, she passed away in 2015. Jerry McFadden, she was a singer. My dad, he acts like he can't sing, but he used to sing on the choir when
Can
he
he
was
sing?
younger. He can. He just acts like he doesn't, but he can hold the tune. But my mom sang. Both of my grandmothers played the piano. My grandfathers that had passed before I was born, they were singers and choir directors. So it definitely runs in the family, and it's continuing on. My niece sings. My nephews play the drums. So
Wow.
yes, it's still continuously going in the family.
Legacy being passed down from one to the other. Her mother
Yeah.
was known as the tambourine woman.
Yes.
She would come to church every Sunday with her tambourine. And, if she wasn't there with that tambourine, something wasn't right. And just the other day, after I talked to you, I was reflecting on the Mother's Day when I sent her those flowers.
Oh.
I sent her mother some flowers for Mother's Day.
Mhm.
And I didn't sign the card. I don't think I signed the card. But she was calling Kenya and everybody in the family wanting to know where these flowers came from. And then she finally realized that I had sent the flowers to her.
Yeah, I remember that.
She was just precious. She was
She
a
was.
precious woman. We'll never forget her and what she gave to people in real life. So you're a musician.
Yes.
Tell us about the radio talk show. How did all of that come about? I've been following you, and I'm like, wow, look at Kenya. She's just blowing up here on social media. What's going on? You have a radio show now.
Yes. So I'm going to have to get you on the show. I have to get you
wow.
ladies on the show. So the name of the station is I Worship 96 FM Radio. It's internet radio.
So everybody's going on the internet.
yeah,
That's the place to go.
That's the
It goes
place to
around
go.
the world.
It definitely
Yes.
It's not
yes.
just here in New Jersey or Pennsylvania or New York. The internet takes you around the world.
Yes.
99.9% of the followers to the Lois and Lamar TV talk show are out of Europe.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
It's a great
It's
thing.
a good thing because when God bless you, He wants His word to go around the world. He doesn't want it to stand still in some little small place.
Yeah.
So He enlarges our territory so that it's big.
Yes.
So that's good that it is on the internet
Yes.
because it's going to get that word out there where God wants it to be.
Yeah, amen. And social media is so powerful. I mean, and more radio stations, even the ones that have a local presence, they're still expanding beyond. Because if not, it's only going to be your local area that is going to listen to it.
That's right.
And then you'll never get exposure to another area. So the station started, the CEO, Tamika Hall. And originally I was kind of just helping out with the station. And the name of my show is called Let's Talk About It. So where that came from is if you follow me on my social media before the show, I like to discuss topics on my social media. And a lot of times I pick topics that other people don't want to touch. So I pick those kind of the hot button topics. And sometimes the conversation can be intense, but I just firmly believe that if you don't talk about things, you're never going to learn from each other. So let's talk about race. Let's talk about, all kinds of stuff. Let's talk about religion. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about,
Get it up.
all of that
Get it out
stuff.
the belly. Whatever it is that's bothering you, you have to release it.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm a believer that God has put someone on this earth for you to talk to.
Absolutely.
You just can't hold that stuff in you. It makes you feel bad.
Yes.
It makes you sick. Release it. So I like that. Let's talk about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
let's talk about it.
So over the years, people kept saying, Kenya, you need to do a show, you need to do a podcast. And I'm like, nah. No, I just like putting it on my social media. But then the opportunity presented itself with I Worship. And Samika said, you should think about doing your own show, because I had actually interviewed her for my women's conference, which I'll talk about, and I was interviewing her. So in the midst of that, she was like, you need to get a show. So I said, you know what, okay, I'll try it. So I kind of reached out and I said, all right, everybody, here it is. You said I need to do a show. Let's talk about it. And so it's been going well.
Awesome.
It's been a little over a year. The station is a couple years old, and I mean, again, the power of the internet. It's up to 4 million listeners, the overall station.
Woo!
4 million listeners. It's in over 30 countries now. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. We were nominated for a Stellar last year, so prayerfully will happen again. And
The Peabody Award?
I don't know about that one.
Oh, okay.
Gotta learn about that one. Yeah. So
Lois is going to have that.
yeah. So it's been
that's
awesome. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
every week I talk about different topics. I spent October talking about which is October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, so we talked about that. And I also like to bring musicians onto the show and feature musicians and kind of talk to them as well, because I'm a musician. So we talk about all types of stuff. So it's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's
gotta
right.
be
So
sure
your
to show.
journey is it's just moving. It's not sitting still.
Yes.
You're just going from one thing to the other. When you think you're finished with something else, God gives you something else to do.
Yes,
So he's
that's the
keeping you
truth.
busy. That's wonderful. Tell us about the ladies' conference.
So that was something, and it's amazing how you have certain ideas. And one of the things that I struggle with is when I feel like God's leading me to do something, I kind of question myself, and I'm like, is this really something I should do? Is this really, I don't know how this is going to work out. Well, that's what Women in Harmony was for me. Probably around
So
20.
let me stop you for a second.
Yeah.
What takes you to that point where you say, okay, I'm going to do it?
My husband.
I'm just
There's the
curious.
force behind you that pushes you to get out there. Okay. But
Yeah.
we all need that one
Right.
person. Lamar is my force.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, my husband passed away 8 years ago. I am a single girl. I never went on a date. I never looked at another guy. But Lamar has always been there. And if something's wrong, just like a baby would go to their father, I'll wake Lamar up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And he sits up and he'll talk to me. But he's the energy behind me that pushes the Lois and Lamar TV talk show. I had something not so nice that was done, and we talked about it, and here we are in a conversation with the Lois and Lamar TV talk show. Without Lamar, there would be no Lois, and without the both of us, we would not have this show. So he is the energy behind me that pushes me out there to do things when I say no. He won't accept no for an answer when I say no, because he know it's in me. He's like, no, Lois, you can do that. So I understand that energy that Miles gives to you.
Yes.
I can truly relate to that. That's my big brother. Lamar is my big brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that you definitely need.
You need that. You need that.
That force, especially if you're somebody who can be stubborn like me. Some people, they just have that intense faith, like God will say something and they'll just go. Well, unfortunately, that's not. I still have work. You know, what's the song? Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. So for me, sometimes I kind of question things, or I'll
Try and talk yourself out of it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like, I don't know, that's not going to work. And then my husband will be like, you need to do what God told you to do. And I'm like, yeah, but no buts. So definitely he pushes me to do it. So with Women in Harmony, it was something I had thought about and sat on for years. I felt right around like 2012, 2013 to do something for women. The music industry is a very male-dominated society, world, which I'm sure is, you know, the same thing in your world as well. And you know, nothing, you know, we love the men, but I found that women, we weren't really connected. And there are a lot of female musicians out there, and we kind of only see each other on like a Women's Day. And I said, you know what, I want to put something together that we could come together, we could fellowship, and just kind of talk about the issues that we face, the trials that we go through, and come together in unity and be in harmony together. So that's where the name Women in Harmony came from. So I kind of sat on it for years, and 2014, I was like extremely busy. I just had a lot on my plate. And I remember my mom used to fuss at me and say, you got to slow down. You're doing a lot. And I felt like God was telling me to slow down. So I started slowing down, and I said, okay, it's not the time. And then in February of 2015, I lost my mother. So then I was like, okay, God, this is why you told me to slow down, because you knew that I was getting ready to go through this, which that was at that time devastating. You know, the worst thing I had went through, losing my mom in 2015. So I barely even remember 2015. And if I could do it all over again, I should have went to therapy in 2015 when I lost my mom. So I barely remembered that year. And then in 2016, I got engaged, got married. So that year was just like a great year. Yeah. So then it's like, you know, you're adjusting to, you know, newly married and becoming a wife. And so after that, then it was kind of like, okay, it's time to do the conference. So it launched in 2017. It's still fairly new. This is only my third year doing the conference. So we started it. We had about 40 women that came. They're musicians, singers, praise dancers. If you're an actress, it basically is for any women in the worship and arts ministry to come together, and then we have different workshops. So the first year was we just did musicians and singers and praise dancers, and then the second year we added in preachers, because preachers actually came the first year, and I was just like, oh, okay, and I thought about it. I'm like, the worship and word are so connected. When you're in music, you're really connected with the preachers. So I thought it was good to bring us all together so we could connect and learn how to communicate and work together. And so
so it's grown into what now? You started off with 40, and so you have,
you know,
how many did you have last year? A couple hundred?
Yeah, you from your lips to God's ears. we're still growing. We're still in, you know, the beginning stage. It's averaging about 40 to 50 women. So as of right now, it's still small, but that's actually good because it's a little more intimate. And what we've been doing is we have big sessions with everybody together, so everybody gets to learn from people. So for example, I'm not a preacher, but listening to the preacher's workshop, it helps me to understand things from their perspective in their world. And then we also have things for the first lady, because a lot of times, you know, they get overlooked, so we kind of included them if you're a female preacher or pastor. So it's like I could listen to that workshop and learn from them and appreciate where they are, and then they could kind of listen to a singer and learn about a singer's world, or an actress, or, you know, things like that. So it's still, you know, it's still small, but it's good. It's really intimate. So prayerfully it will grow to that place.
So you went from playing the keyboard, directing choirs,
yeah,
to this great big celebrity. How does it
Here
feel?
you go. I'm
How
not a
does it feel?
celebrity.
You are
I'm not a
celebrity.
celebrity.
It
I'm a
takes a
celebrity.
while to accept these things, but now you're this great big celebrity. You're author of this great book. And I want everyone watching the show to purchase this book because you all have some pain within you that you don't want to talk about and that you don't want to share with others. But this great woman has wrote this book. And in this book, she expresses her pain in the loss of a child. And those of you who are watching the show tonight, I challenge you to go out and get this book. And I assure you that after you read her testimony and what she and the co-authors have to share with you about losing a child, you're going to feel better on the inside. Kenya, are you on any of the social media apps? How can anyone connect with you if they needed to? You want to share that with me?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook at Kenya Collier. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Kenya Keys. So it's Kenya_Keys, Keyz. The book is available on Amazon. You can either order a physical copy, or if you are an e-reader, it's also available on Kindle. I'm on, I'm on LinkedIn. I have a website. My website for Spirit of Excellence is spiritexcellence.com. And that's where you can find me.
Are you on Twitter? Do you tweet?
Yes, Kenya Keys, Kenya_Keyz.
So there you have it. All of the social media apps where you can find Kenya at. As she said, the book is on Amazon. And you can also get it buy it also for Kindle.
Yes.
And I would not end this show without having that camera put on Mr. Miles.
The force to be reckoned with.
He's the first man. We have first ladies, but he is the first man that has been to Kenya. And he also is a musician. He's a man of many talents, and he is a wonderful, wonderful husband. And I can tell that by the things that Kenya posts on social media about her moms. So we would not let this show end without that camera being put on you for a second. Miles, thanks for coming along with your wife. And Kenya.
I get one show too. He does a lot.
We have to get
He
you
does
on
a
the
whole
show.
lot.
Yes, we have to get you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. It's your birthday. We can't let her leave, guys, without singing happy birthday to her.
Yay,
Can we
you
sing
can
happy
sing
birthday to
happy
Kenya?
birthday.
Today's her birthday. Come on, guys. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kenya. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, I can't clap, but yay. Enjoy the rest of the day, and thanks for coming on your show.
Thank you so much
happy
for
to have
having
you
me.
here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and sharing your journey
Yes.
with us. Thank you so much.